I lost like $350,000. I give a lot of respect to my mom.
The ebbs and flows of life. There's highs and lows. There's bubbles for sure. And then sometimes it fizzes out.
That's kind of like how I used to like deal with stuff. Like I would just like, talk to multiple women.
Welcome to the Empowered Era podcast, brought to you by the Elizabethan Era. On today's episode, we have no other than the tech guy himself. Say hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me on.
Yes. No, I'm really glad to have you on. If you guys have not seen his content, you need to take a pause and go run it. He puts you on so much game. So let me just give you guys a quick rundown. Like if you go on his page, you're going to see different gadgets. You're going to see different ways to get into tech, different advice and pieces of that nature, how you can use your money that you have acquired from your 9-to-5 and put it into your investments. Honestly, he's just like the all-around guy if you are looking for all things tech. Let's actually just jump straight into it. So we went to the same college. So at UNT, how did you feel like you navigated the tech space coming out of it, like as a graduate?
Well, I was actually pretty much involved in it my entire time through college. So most people, you see them waiting till like their senior year or anything like that to finally get in to do what they want to do in that career space. I had been doing it since like my sophomore year of college. Like I was doing internships. I had my full-time job the semester before my senior year.
Let's go.
I interned every semester of college, from my sophomore year on up to my senior year. So it was like, I kind of already knew exactly what I wanted to do. I did waste my first year just doing dumb stuff. I think I had like a 1.8 GPA my freshman year.
Hold on, pause. How did you go from a 1.8 GPA to the man you are today?
So I ran track in like my freshman year of college at a school in Alabama. The thing was, they was really strict on attendance. So I was passing my classes.
Yeah.
But because I wasn't going to class, they was failing me. So yeah, it wasn't because I was a dummy. It's just I wasn't going to class. I didn't feel like I needed to go. Like this is stuff I was doing in high school. So, you know, that first year is just like whatever.
And so when you got out of college, what was your first job? Like your first like real job?
Well, my first real job was actually in college. I was contracting.
Ooh, hold on, let's talk about it.
So I was working for a contracting company, and I was actually a Linux engineer. I think like the end of my sophomore year, but I was also still interning. So I was getting contract positions as well as also internships. But like my first full-time job, I got the summer of my junior year going into my senior year. And I was basically like a threat analyst.
So my question to you is, who put you on game? And who paved the path to even give you that knowledge to understand that this is the direction you should go?
So that's actually funny. That's why I kind of create the content that I was creating about the tech career advice and stuff like that, because I didn't have anyone to give me the advice. It was just more so me learning, me reading, and the amount of information that's available now. I didn't have access to any of that. It wasn't a lot of people.
Let's talk about it.
It wasn't a lot of people that was doing like what they're doing now with the tech career advice. Hey, this is how you navigate it. So I literally had to get that together. Like I had to really navigate like my first like real bad experience, not bad experience, but my first corporate life experience was when I was contracting, and I realized, they can just get rid of you anytime they want. And
how old were you when you had that experience?
19, I think.
So at 19, that was your first time experiencing like, okay, I had a really solid big boy job, and now anything can be taken away.
Yeah, especially contracting. Like as a full-time employee, you got a little bit of leeway, but contracting, you know what? We don't have the budget for this anymore. Cut. Well, full-time employees, you can't really do. You can, but you can't. Because like as a contractor, the way how they hire is so like you have an interview and they're like, okay, cool, we want him. Like let's start the next week. You don't have to go through like the onboarding process and all. Like it's way cheaper to hire a contractor than a full-time employee. You don't have to pay them benefits. You don't have to do all this. And that's why contractors typically get paid more money as well. Because they don't have to deal with some of the benefits and all the time onboarding them, getting them accustomed to everything. Typically, as a contractor, you're pretty much an expert within
your
that
space.
Yeah. So it's
so would you say that the trade-off is when you look at your total compensation package, as a contractor, you're actually getting the bulk of it up front in the cash versus as a full-time, it can be divided into like the stocks and all the other aspects.
I mean, I would definitely go I would rather go full-time depending on what it is. Now, if I can work multiple contracts, then yeah, cool. But I just feel like it's more security. working W-2.
So my question for you, if at 19 you got to experience that for the first time, there's a lot of people who are experiencing it for the first time later in life. And it's taking a hit on them.
Yeah.
So for you, how do you feel like that shaped and paved your mindset as you navigated your tech career in your 20s?
I look for my best interest. Like, you know, people
yourself
still,
first.
yeah, you know,
I love that.
people love to stay loyal to a company. Me, I'm a notorious job hopper. Like, you go to my LinkedIn, you'll see 8 months, 12 months. Yeah. Like,
Okay.
the job I'm at right now is probably the second longest job I ever stayed at. The first one was like almost 3 years. This one's coming up on 2 years.
What's keeping you there?
Stock.
Hey.
Yeah.
And let's toast to that. Let's talk about stocks. How do you feel like stocks have been a benefit to you when it comes to the long-term game and generational wealth?
For me, the way I look at stocks, I look at it as money that I won't ever touch again. Like, I don't pull money from my stocks or anything like that. It's more so like something that's going to get passed down to my son. Like, it's more so just like big savings account that, you know, get interest and get, you know, goes up in value, goes down in value. Historically, you know, SP 500 do about 8% per year, whatever. It's just, you know, it's decent. It's better investments out there. But for like the long term, I feel like it's great.
I may need a little.
You want me to have eye twisted a little bit?
Yeah, I may need a little assistance. Wow.
Like, it was like it was not coming out, and it just popped
and then
out.
out of nowhere.
I was not expecting that.
That's what happens in life, though. A lot of things will happen. A lot of things will just pop off unexpectedly. A lot of things will happen unexpectedly. The ebbs and flows of life. There's highs and lows. There's bubbles for sure. And then sometimes it fizzes out. Are you a champagne drinker?
For me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
Okay. Have you ever fasted from alcohol?
Yeah. I was actually on like a 30-day cleanse not too long ago. I just got off like 2 weeks ago.
Cheers. I was on a 21-day fast.
Yeah. I try to do 60, but yeah.
Yeah. You get aggressive. Okay, so you had mentioned that you feel like stock is beneficial for that long-term game, and you don't plan on touching it.
No.
So your stock is set for your future children.
Yeah.
And you recommend others to do that? Or why is it you do that?
Because I feel like once like money leave my account and going to like places like, you know, investments and like, I don't look at myself as like, oh, this is something I'm gonna touch again. It's just like, you know, out of mind, out of sight type of thing. And it automatically comes out of my account each week, going straight to my, you know, brokerage accounts and stuff like that. So it's just like, oh, I'm not even realizing that I'm investing still. It's just it just happens every week. And I don't check it. I don't do anything. And then when I do check, I'm like, oh, dang.
And then you're like, wow. When you check that, do you have yours through Fidelity or something else?
Fidelity.
Yeah, mine's through Fidelity. When I check it, I'll be like, hold on.
Yeah.
We're doing good.
We're doing good. Yeah.
So let's actually chat a little bit more about other investments. I know there was a time frame where you actually got me into investments and we were investing into some properties and all of that, some rental, and you really took off with it. Tell me more about your journey and experience with that and why you feel like other people should invest in property, not necessarily you buy and own your own home, but you could still be considered an investor.
Well, I'm going to briefly touch on that. Never again in my life will I give someone else my money to invest if I'm not responsible for it. Because, you know, I lost like $350,000.
Crazy. $350K?
Yeah. And that's only from that particular thing. I think that year, I probably lost about $400,000 dealing with like, I want to say bad investments because I seem like a sucker for saying scam, like, oh, I got scammed. No, bad investments.
Let's just say bad business.
Bad business.
Like when you uncover that maybe moving forward, we shouldn't do business with certain individuals.
Like, if I ever like invest in like private equity or within someone else, there's going to be a lot of checks and balances if I ever do it again. But yeah, like
what do you feel like made you so susceptible to falling for it in terms of like being a little bit more gullible or naive?
Well, when I first seen it, it was really like the people that was like advertising it for, you know, per se. Like people that was advertising it, you know, I'm seeing them, you know, they dealing with this person, this well-known person. I'm like, oh,
now there's credibility around it.
Yeah, so it's like if, you know, these people are investing with them,
it's trusted.
Yeah, I feel trusted, you know, and I didn't do my research as I probably should have, but you know.
You did not do your due diligence?
Not the way I should have, because like this person had helped me buy my first investment property and all this stuff like that. So it's like, it was somewhat of a relationship there.
Okay.
You know, based upon that, I'm like, okay, it's good people. I'm meeting this person through this person.
Yeah.
Cool. You know, first, you know, I was getting my money, I was doing this, and then it just like, whew.
Just kind of tying it to the first thing that comes to my mind. Do you feel like that was like an experience of a love bomb turned into a breadcrumb?
I handled it very well. Actually, most people probably would have been super depressed and, you know, want to go off the rails. But for me, it was just like, because the way how I view money, which is probably not the best thing, it's just like, it's a tool. Like, I have great income. I have, you know, great savings. I have all this. I'm still pissed off about it.
Because it can't come back.
Yeah, what, like, at this point, what else can I'm not gonna go crash out. You know what I mean? Like,
no.
I'm a citizen.
Hold on, pause. I feel like when it came to that time frame, when it came to just the idea of investments, to your point, credibility matters.
Yeah.
And for me, a lot of credibility in why I said yes was because of who told me, and that person was you. So I was like, okay, if he's doing it and I know I could trust him, like given the longevity of the friendship and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, like Tay don't put his money in stuff that doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
And so, yes, I definitely was making money on it until I wasn't. So that's what I mean by the love bomb to the breadcrumb. Let's actually pivot into a deeper discussion, because I feel like whenever I reached out to you and you were like, yeah, cool, like I'm down, let's do it. What were your initial thoughts on the podcast?
So I get people asking me all the time to do podcasts, and you know, most of the time I say, well, I only really do in-person podcasts. I don't really like being, you know, over the phone, over Zoom. But most of the time, people want me to talk about tech all the time. And I'm just like, if you guys haven't noticed on my social media, I don't even post tech career advice anymore.
Come on.
Like, don't get me wrong. I still want to help people. I still want to do that. But it's like,
we still for the people.
Yeah.
It's
but
just,
it's like,
that's
I'm
not the
more
bread
than
and
that.
butter.
Yeah, I'm more than just like tech. I like talking about it, but it's like, you know, I actually like, you know, reviewing tech. I like, you know, lifestyle content. I like, you know, being a content creator, not just like a quote unquote influencer. So it's like, you know, I still don't mind doing those things, but you know, if you follow me just for that, I hate to tell you, I'm, you know,
it's a little, what do they say? We've diversified our portfolio.
Yeah, exactly.
Because at this point, we're not putting everything into one stock and banking on that to be what's going to let us shine, but it's more so if we are a part of a community, a tech community, especially what's growing online for being Black in tech, being a Black woman in tech, being a Black man in tech, the hashtags go crazy. Like the moment you say you're in tech, people are, oh my gosh, I want to learn something from you so it can benefit me. But there's other aspects of who you were before you got into that phase of life. There's other aspects that as you're in that phase of life that you enjoy. So what do you feel like keeps you on your high when it comes to creating content?
So this is actually quite like kind of funny because it's gonna seem like weird because like I like helping people. It's like, oh, why you stop making tech, you know, career-based content and stuff like that. I feel like I messed up with only doing tech career advice. So now me trying to make that transition out of it, it's like extremely hard versus if I was already doing, you know, the lifestyle,
like
the content. If I was already doing that instead of
Can we talk about that real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. So the other day, months ago when I say the other day, but the other day I went to a influencer event. I got invited. There were other influencers. It was a super dope event. And as we're mixing and mingling, getting to know other people, there was someone who was a +1. And this individual had over 200,000 followers. And they were like, I never get invited to these types of events. And this is what I want to get invited to. This is what I want to do more of. And I was like, okay, let me see your content. I saw the individual's content and they were fully in one niche.
Yeah.
And so when I asked them, although you were able to grow at such a rapid rate, they were able to grow in like a year or two to that capacity where they have like very well-known celebrities that repost their content on a daily. They felt like it put them in a pigeonhole. And when I asked them, okay, what type of content do you want to produce? What do you want to give? They were like, well, honestly, I want to express more of my family. I want to express more of my day-to-day. I am recently a parent. I would like to, maybe I get branded for this or branded for that because I feel like I'm more than just that one niche.
Yeah.
But they're finding it extremely difficult because the numbers are high when they post towards their niche.
But
and I think that has a lot to do with when you're building your community, being so intentional about not just the short term, how you can grow, but like that long-term play. If you get a lot of people that now know you for this one niche and you try to pivot, do you have their loyalty to pivot with you?
Exactly. It is hard. And that's why for me, I feel like it shouldn't be that hard because my audience is already people in tech. But it's not people in tech. It's people that's trying to make the transition into tech. And it's like the content that I do make, like I notice now, like my tech career advice, it does number. Now I do like the lifestyle, like the little music playing. You those do numbers. So
wait,
it's like
pause. Tech does numbers, lifestyle does numbers.
No, the career advice does numbers.
Career advice and tech.
Yeah, and
those are all
in
a similar. Oh, within the lifestyle.
Yeah, so like whenever I'm on like
people want to see.
I'm noticing that. But it's like when I do the reviews, I talk about the consumer grade stuff. It's like
So, do you enjoy doing the reviews?
I do, and that's the crazy thing about it. That's the content I actually enjoy doing.
You want to review more tech products?
Yeah.
Let's talk about my vlogging camera.
Let's talk about it.
Okay, let's talk about my vlogging camera. What are your thoughts? Because before I give it to you, I just want you to know all the girlies, the YouTube girlies,
they love it.
Eat this down. This is the highly recommended vlogging camera. It fits in your purse. It fits in your bag. I've had so many questions, DMs. How do you take your pictures? A quick point and shoot. You can turn anybody into a human tripod. But I want to hear your thoughts because you're not a girly. You don't do, the content that I do. I
have my bag too.
Oh,
okay.
For
the camera.
You about to show me what a camera is?
Yeah. Well, it's for pictures. But
okay. Yeah. You do a lot more video content. So I would consider you more of like a video editor. So upgrade me real quick. Let's talk about it and then let me know what I should upgrade to.
So, okay. Canon G7X, obviously I ain't gonna say it's outdated, but everyone was talking about this camera. Yeah, it's a Mark II, but everyone, like back in the day, G7X, it was a go-to for everybody. I even thought about doing it or whatever. But I feel like the autofocus on this camera is like, it's really bad to be considered as like a vlogging camera. It takes great pictures for sure. But I just overall feel, and I'm also a Sony guy. So.
Why Sony?
Because I prefer videos and I record in low light and I just feel like Sony's just better. But for women, it makes sense to go Canon because they have great colors.
As we discussed.
Sony have a lot better compact cameras versus with Canon. I don't think I've ever seen a compact Canon camera. Have you? No, I haven't. Yeah, they're all bulky.
So I'm gonna pause you real quick. And if you're tuning in on the podcast, Apple, Spotify, iHeart, you name it, I want you to tap into the YouTube video so you can see visually what he's about to pull up. Because I know a lot of the Instagram girlies listen to this, and we eat down the G7X Mark II. And I will still stay loyal to the G7X Mark II. But put us on to what you think we should invest in.
Well, first off, budget plays a huge role. Like how much money.
Let's talk about the budget.
So I think all of my cameras are like $1,500 plus. Like even this one, this one's like $2,000.
Yeah.
But it retails for like $1,300. But
okay.
I would say for me personally, if you're a girl that's want to vlog and stuff like that, they have the Canon PowerShot. It's like a little pocket small size, great colors, real $300. Amazing camera if you just want to vlog. Yeah.
So my question is, because keep in mind, I'm asking you from the perspective of a lifestyle content creator. Meaning,
that's camera perfect.
Meaning what we need, what the girls need is something that they can take, a one-stop shop that they can take everywhere with them. If they on a trip and now we're about to go to the next function. We got a full day where we're not going back to even change outfits. We are in New York Fashion Week and we hit in the streets. I need something that's compact enough, similar to the size of my iPhone, does not eat up too much of the space in my bag, or I could at least put it on the wrist, throw it in the pocket.
Do you want videos and pictures, or you just want pictures, or you just want videos?
I like a buffet, so I'm gonna do videos and pictures.
The Sony ZV-F1, it's about $400. Great vlogging, great autofocus, pictures gonna come out amazing. The vlogging gonna be amazing, all around great. That's our recommend. But I'm a Sony guy, so I'm biased.
Can we get this at Best Buy?
Yeah, get it from Best Buy,
Okay.
Amazon.
Best Buy's
everywhere.
my friend.
you can
So
go either one.
I may need to go there. I appreciate that. I appreciate the review. Tell me a little bit more about what makes you you. Like, let's dive into your childhood upbringing. And what do you feel like in your childhood really painted the bigger picture that we see today?
I definitely say now, and it's for everybody like, oh, he your mama's boy. I'm not, but I give a lot of respect to my mom. How, treat women, how I look at courting a woman, how hard work, it all stemmed from her. Like mama, she used to always tell me, I can't teach you how to be a man, but I can somewhat show you of what I would want in a man. Which, some people are like, oh, that's tiger mom, stuff like that. No, man, mom don't have a relationship like that. Moms, you can't do no wrong. You can't do anything. My mom, she don't play that.
Yeah.
Like my mom always tell me, if a woman ever say you put her hands on her, I'm calling the police myself.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, nah, she definitely instilled a lot in me for sure. Like the hard work, her working 2 jobs, teach me, what a little bit she knew about finance, credit, and stuff like that. So it was a lot of stuff that she didn't learn. She didn't really learn from her upbringing, but she learned the hard way. And so she was like, oh, well, I learned this from the hard way. This is what you should be doing. This is how everything should be going. And just kind of went from there. And I just feel like I took it to another level. And then, I'm naturally curious. So I read a lot. I look at a lot of videos. I'm always researching a lot of different things. So yeah, I would definitely say it's my mom.
I love that. I love that you highlighted on your relationship with your mom because I feel like that does set the tone for the man that you are. I feel like in the friendship that we have, ever since I've known you, you've always been a very respectful man. And I think that has a lot to do with the type of mom that you had. Yeah. I think there's a lot of men who don't have that relationship that you just described with your mom. So to the men listening, what advice would you give to them if they're looking in this older adult life on how to dive deeper into their relationship, not just with their mom, but with women?
Therapy.
Yeah, I love the fact that you emphasize that it's literally one word, therapy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about therapy.
Let's talk about it.
End of 2020, December was when I started therapy. I'm the type of person, I made the same way people do New Year's resolutions and make a list of all the categories that they feel like they need fine tuning. I made a list about 6 different categories of my current state and my desired state. And I went shopping for a therapist that matched what I'm looking for, not just in the now, but in the long term. So I was very adamant about the perspective that they would be sharing and to ensure they're not just projecting, but to understand that when it comes to finding a therapist, since it's a 2-way street, there may be some personal experiences that they end up sharing, even if they're not supposed to. But you want to relate to your therapist at the end of the day and the things that you're sharing, because I grew up in a household where we keep everything to ourselves and we keep it in-house. You tell your siblings, you tell your parents, and then that's about it. And I mean, there was already 6 of us, so we had built-in best friends. We didn't really need to talk to other people. But the later in life, the more I started experiencing different things that I couldn't result to go to a sibling for or my parents for, I felt like, okay, I do need to have these conversations because I feel like it's hindering my personal growth to break down certain walls in order to dive deeper. I felt like I gained a lot from my personal experience in therapy. Not currently in it anymore, but I feel like even just these conversations, having the podcast, has felt like a form of therapy in a session, in a sense. I feel like we're in a session. Yeah. But how do you feel about your experience and what you were able to uncover and navigate?
Yeah, so luckily for me, it wasn't really hard for me to find a therapist. I think my first go around, I found a good thing. Yeah. And also with me, I feel like a lot of stuff that I was dealing with it pretty much attributed to one thing. And it was more so, my father not being in my life growing up angry. Didn't realize I was angry, but as time had gone on, it's damn, why the hell am I always irritated? Why? It's and it just really showed. And I was I used to always say it don't bother me, it don't bother me, it don't bother me. But then I started realizing I am the way I am because of that. And so I went to therapy. We kind of, digest everything, went through it. I'm dang, yeah, that makes sense. It's that started revealing a lot of different things, and it definitely made me a lot more self-aware. emotional intelligence now, communication, and also a breakup too. That also led me to going there as well too. So it's just because usually when I used to break up, I used to be a 304. So it was like that was like my
Hold
way.
on. What's that area code?
304. I don't know. 30. Look at it backwards.
403.
The word. Ho.
You put me on game.
Yeah.
Okay,
oh wow, you didn't know that for real?
No, I didn't know that for real.
Okay, yeah, no. But yeah, so that's kind of like how I used to like deal with stuff. Like I would just like talk to multiple women, and I was like, I can't keep doing this, like, because it's just gonna be like a repetitive cycle at that point.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be do this. So it's like, you know what? I'm actually gonna go to therapy. I'm gonna digest it. I'm gonna understand. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And it definitely helped me a lot. Like it really did. Like I feel like I'm a very great communicator now. Like whenever something's bothering me, I'm gonna say it. Like
you feel
women,
like you gained patience?
I gained patience through my child too. But
let's talk about it.
Yeah.
How has parenting been? Congrats on being a father. How has that journey been? Because you said he about as tall as the counter?
Yeah, no, he's tall.
Huh?
Like he's the height of like a 3-year-old right now. Like
but he is
16 months. Yeah, no, he's tall.
16 months, but he looks like a 3-year-old. It's crazy.
He's tall. It's funny though, because I was just on the phone with my mom the other day, and I was like, I don't see how you did this, like by yourself. I actually got help. You know what I mean? Like I have help. You didn't have no help. How did you do this? Because it's like it definitely teaches you a lot of patience for sure. Not even just like because he's not a bad kid. He's explorer. He like to get in stuff. He like to do all these things.
He's curious.
But it's like yeah. So it's like when I'm seeing him do these things, I'm like, ah, dang. He's figuring stuff out. He's quick to figure stuff out. He's like all over the place. And when he's at my house, I let him roam and do whatever it is he want to do. As long as he's not like actively trying to hurt himself, I'm like, all right, cool, you just do it. Like I just let him roam free or whatever. But I definitely think like being the father is also a part of the reason why like my emotional intelligence and communication really like kind of up level as well too, because to be a great parent you have to work on yourself. Like you can't be a great parent and raise somebody.
Like how can you lead one when it's now the blind leading the blind?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like I be saying like on Twitter and stuff, like on social media, how people parent. I'm like, wait, parents are actually like this?
I think a lot of the parenting skills that are being learned online, some good, some bad. I think a lot of everything. Let me just say, people need to be really cautious of the subconscious mind. Whatever you're consuming and what you're taking in and what you're adapting to and now trying to implement into your daily life, not all of it is for you.
Yep.
It may have worked for one person, it may not work for you, but truly trying to understand like, okay, the person that's giving this advice, how did it truly work out for them? Or are they just now going online and expressing that this is something that they do and that we should try it out? I think taking everything back to the core, your upbringing, like back to what you mentioned, with your mom, back to even in my experience with my parents, taking things back to the foundation will help us to not be so shifted in what we see like online. So with that part, how do you feel like you've been rooted or grounded in your parenting style?
I definitely said I was gonna try the gentle parenting thing. That ain't gonna work. So that's not gonna work at all. Like, and the thing about gentle parenting, is obviously, with him, like I give him like a 3-strike type of thing. Like I say stop, he gonna do it again, stop. But if you move to something else and I say stop, they don't count against the 3. It's like, all right, you moved on to something else. And, he be having fun. He be in a little burst of energy and stuff like that. It's like you gotta chill out. But like overall though, being a father probably like the best thing that happened to me, because like it definitely made me better as a person. Even to this day, I'm in therapy right now. Nothing's going on, nothing's wrong. It just feel like it's a form of maintenance. Like, you pedicures, yeah. But yeah, that's kind of how I look at things like that. It's like, okay, like let me ground myself. Maybe I'm not catching something right now. I'm extremely like self-aware. So when I am doing something and anything like that, I'm like, oh, like let me kind of check that. And then also, like, even with some of my friends, I ask them, like, hey, like, is there anything I be doing that, like, y'all don't really like?
Let's actually talk about the self-check when it comes to relationships. I feel like oftentimes when you are in a romantic relationship, you will see the other person as a mirror because they spend so much time with you. But sometimes before we even get to the romantic side, just analyzing the friendships that we have in our lives and realizing where the friends can now clock us out of love. They're now like, hey, man, I know you to be a better person than this, and I'm letting you know X, Y, and Z. Do you feel like your friends hold you accountable?
Yes.
You said that like
yeah,
disbelief that anybody else's friends don't.
You know, based on online, you know, going off what people see on social media. But no, like my friends, they like whenever I'm doing something, like even like if you know I had like a disagreement with something, you know, with like, my girl or whatever, like most of my friends are married anyways, so I'm around like a lot of married people and people that's in relationships.
Why do you feel like that happens? Is that just by happen's sake, or was that kind of like?
Nah, it's just, like they got married.
Okay.
Yeah, it was my line brothers, obviously.
Okay.
So like those are also my friends and stuff like that too. And just other friendships, they either in relationships or you know they're married. And obviously they have a little bit more wisdom than me on the level of certain relationships. I mean, you know, marriage, relationship, that takes a lot.
That's deep.
That's deep.
That's deep.
So, and they definitely have like, they, you know, they understand compromise. They understand sacrifice. They really understand stuff probably completely different from what I understand. Because right now, I always say like, I'm not mature enough to the level where I feel like I can get married. Because and when I say mature, it's just more so like, I'm still selfish in a way.
I'm glad you said it. But the level of depth with emotional intelligence that needs to be acquired before someone gets into that.
Agreed.
Then just striving for, it looks cute and I think I'm ready, or the people around me are doing it, so now I'm kind of itching, or I'm wondering like, when is my ring gonna come? No.
And that's so funny because like all of my like you know you have different friend groups. They're like, oh, like when you gonna get married? I'm like, no, I'm planning on getting married anytime soon. Like this because my friends and stuff are married. I mean, I'm like, oh snap, I want to get married because I mean, eventually I do want to get married, but I'm just not that mature to where I'm sacrificing myself, my life like that, you know, for a marriage. I'm not there yet.
Would you say that you're preparing yourself for that?
For sure, yeah,
okay.
For sure.
And so, that is happening through therapy and the other relationships with friends.
So that's what I'm saying. Like it's definitely getting there, but like at this point in my life, when I get on my knee and say, "Hey, will you marry me?" That's I'm not there yet.
Okay.
I'm not there yet, but I definitely, you know, would like to sometime in the future. Like even like, you know, I just like the whole idea of just like not necessarily getting permission, but just like really like this. It's gonna sound so bad, but just like really like checking in, like because you have to check in. Like, what if I just, you know, today I want to go out the country and just go somewhere.
One thing about it, I feel like when it comes to like wanting to do your own thing, you have to be cognizant about the partner you choose to ensure that they're down for that as well.
Exactly. But also it's like a thing. What if I don't want to be around you right now? You can't tell that to a woman. Because it's going to be like, what? Nothing wrong. I just need my peace right now. Like, I just need to step away for a couple hours, do my own
regroup,
thing.
and come back. As long as there's a regroup and come back.
Yeah, no,
right?
for sure. Yeah, no, for sure.
What would you say is your strategic vision for 2024?
That's actually funny because I actually mapped out and planned everything. I definitely said I was going to be taking content creation a lot more serious this year. Hire VAs, editors, pretty much got a full team now. As far as like helping me out with everything. I even have like a VA that looks for trending topics. Hey, send me over this. I'll talk about this. I'll do that. But I'm really being more intentional as far as like the content creation route. Like have like, you know, sprints for each quarter, month, week, and everything's pretty much kind of leading up to the end goal. Like I don't have a specific number for anything. It's just more so like consistency and being better than the last time, you know, where each post or wherever the case may be. And I feel like if I'm being consistent and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and at the end, the results is going to be, you know, what I put into it. So
I love that.
That's kind of what I'm doing, which is, you know, most people are like, oh, you know, but that's kind of because I feel like most of my goals I've already completed for the most part. So it's like, let me try to do something a little bit different.
Okay. I love that. That is actually super in line with a lot of my goals as far as content. So I'll hold you accountable if you hold me accountable. Okay. So this is the portion of the show where I make all of the guests pretty much a main character. I feel like you guys are main characters in your own way. So this is your turn to ask me a question. What question do you have for me?
I'm going to flip it on you. What is your strategic vision for your podcast for the year?
Ooh, my strategic vision for my podcast for the year, I would say a few bullet points, like a few things in mind. One, I want to make sure I'm driving impact. Above everything, there has to be impact that's driven. 2, I would say I want to make sure God is a part of every episode. Like he has to be rooted. It doesn't have to feel like this is a faith-based, we are reading scripture type of podcast, but showcasing to others that there are individuals very similar to them that relate to them, that may be leading in their industry, that a deep portion of what made them who they are has a lot to do with their faith.
Okay.
So making sure that that is something that is like through and through. I really want to see the heights that this grows towards, because I want to have multiple seasons.
Okay.
And I want it to feel very organic. I want it to feel kind of like we're doing it on the fly, even though I'm such a strategic individual. I plan out just about everything. Okay. So there's a lot of order. We do have a production team now. This is our first time shooting in a new location. Previous to the other episodes, we was doing the home shots, which was cozy, but you know, we had to upgrade it to see it at the point where, okay, now we have another location. You are our first male guest. I want us to continue diversifying the show overall.
Okay, sounds good.
We'll see what's in store.
I'm excited. I want to see.
Now this is the portion where we passed the mic. So the last guest that was on had a question for you, not knowing who you were, who the next person was going to be, and then you're going to pass the mic and ask a question to the next. So the question that they had for you was, have you defined your why?
I think I have now. And when you first told me the question, I was like, man, that's a deep question. Because like, I'm not going to lie. For a moment, I didn't really know my purpose. But and this is also going to sound weird as well, too. I feel like now, like, my why, like, is more so like my son. Like, you know what I mean? Just, like,
that's
being
not weird at
able.
all.
Yeah, like, being able to, like, because, you know, most people like, oh, like, you should have something outside. But it's like, he just gave me, like, so much, like, to live for, life, stuff. Like, it's just, like, I'm basically raising a mini-me. Like, he came for me. So it's just, like, everything that I pretty much do is like, it's in the mindset of like, oh, like he's going to be the one to receive like the fruits of my labor type of thing. So it's like being able to raise him, seeing how he's going to turn out, you know, as an adult and all that. Like, I feel like that's very exciting. Even like, you know, from 16 months from when he was first born or whatever, it's like, dang, he's come a long way. Like he's doing this, he's doing that. Like I'm saying like little characteristics of me, and I was like, dang, like he acts like me. So it's just like being able to like, you know, be in that situation, like I feel like it's really amazing. I feel like, I mean, it's obviously other things as well too, but I feel like that's probably like the highlight of like my why.
I love that. I love that. And what is your question for the next guest?
I'm gonna switch it up a little bit, just a tad bit, because, you know, I feel like when it comes to like relationships and stuff like that, I think a lot of things like people typically lose themselves. Like, you know, marriages, relationships, and stuff like that. So my question is, how do you maintain your individuality within a marriage or relationship? And if you're not in either one of those, how would you?
And that's the tea. So we're going to have to catch that on the next episode, because I have a feeling the next guest may have some really deep perspectives on that question. So that's crazy that you even asked. How can the people stay connected to you?
All of my social media is TayonTech. Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, everything. TayonTech.
TayonTech. I love to see it. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. I know they really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. And I'm really looking forward to just seeing your strategic vision play out, all the growth that God's going to have for you, and just seeing like what comes in the next years to come.